to another Josh K Guitar video. Josh here, as always, at your service. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do click the like and the subscribe button so you can get all the latest info. Today is Theory Thursday. Let's get right into the Mick Goodrick book. I'm sharing this book page by page, one at a time, and some ways that you can study it, because this book is just no longer available for less than $1,000. I don't think that's right. I don't think Mick would think that that was right. And talking to other former students of his, they seem to agree. So, please, if people have volumes 2, 3, 4 of this book, I don't have them. So, I'd love it if you could share and make that available like I'm doing here. I would love to explore some of that material myself. But that said, let's get right into it. Here's the book. He sold me this book for $40 when I started studying with him. And I'll show you the inscription. He said, to Josh, yours in harmony, Mick Goodrick. And I always treasure that. But anyways, here's the book. Mr. Goodrick Chord's Almanac of Guitar Voice Leading for the year 2001 and beyond. I will say, as he says on the cover, batteries are not included. Some assembly will be required. For that reason, I do not include tabs in these videos. There are so many different ways to practice the material. There's not one right way. There's not one tab that I could prescribe that would do it. But that said, in each one of these videos, I do try to show my virtual fretboard so you can hear where my brain is at for today's practice. And today, for me, does not have to look like today for you. You can take this very slowly, your pace. You can do these like any of the triad breakdowns I've done in the previous ones. Today, today's for the shredders. I'm going to do one for some finger tapping exercises you can do based on the material in the book. So that said, let's get right to it. One more thing I'll say as I'm flipping pages is that you always want to pay attention to the sensations in your fretting hand. If you feel any discomfort at all, consider that a good stretch for today. Put the guitar down, come back tomorrow, and hopefully the stretch will feel less uncomfortable the next day. If you can do these stretches every day, gauge the proper time to stop. And again, the proper time is any discomfort at all. You can gauge that proper time to stop doing that stretch. What will happen is over a series of months, you will be making these stretches without any discomfort. And when that happens, you know you've won and you've practiced correctly. So, that said, take it slowly, keep everything in mind, and take it day at a time. So what we're doing here is cycle 5. We are cycling through the chords in C major only. We're staying diatonic to C major, but we're cycling in fifths. So that's going to start on C, then move up a fifth to G, up another fifth, D minor, A minor, E minor, B diminished, F major, and that cycles us back around to C. Hence the name chord cycle. So let me blow some parts of this up so you can screenshot, and we'll get right into playing. I think for the way we're going to study this today, the top half is definitely the more important part to do. You're going to find doing spread voicings in this way is just completely unreasonable. You might find another way to practice these in spread voicings. But for these, the closed voicings are really where it's at. So there's the top, closed voicings. Screenshot that so you can practice along, because I'm only going to be going through the first line or so to save time in the video. But you should practice all the lines. And then here's spread. I would practice these, maybe, again, not like I'm doing them in today's video, but I would definitely practice knowing where these are so that you can make spread chord voicings and play spread voiced leads that sound fuller than just running through scales and all that. And then here's that MSRP. This is the interesting melodic thing that happens as we're playing these. Mick really doesn't tell you what you're supposed to play over these, but he does a great job of kind of pointing your eye in the direction of, hey, check out over here, you might find something that you like. So there's the top, one more time, screenshot that. And here's the bottom, screenshot that. And practice those on your own time. And we're going to go ahead and move on. You can practice these same shapes, basically any string set. I'm going to start on the first string, just because why not? So that said, we're starting with C major. To do this, you'll want to find the notes C, E, and G all on one string. So if I'm looking, I'll count through these for anybody who doesn't know the note names yet. You have E, because it's the E string. Then E to F is always the distance of 1 fret away. So this is fret 0. 0 plus 1, you get F. So fret 1. Then F to G, always 2 frets. G to A will always be 2 frets. A to B will always be 2 frets. And then B to C. There's your other half step. Then you get another whole step, C to D. D to E. And then E to F. And I'll just go one higher because that's all we'll need, F to G. So we want to find C as the lowest note, and then E and G in that order, just because that's what he says for the first chord voice. So that's the exercise. C, E, G. You can practice this exercise with note tapping. It just as a note finding exercise. Right? You can absolutely do that. That will be helpful for a lot of people who don't know their notes yet and who maybe don't know the relationship between distances of triads. So anybody who's working on that material, maybe don't even tap this stuff yet. Maybe you're not there. Maybe you just need to know the names, okay? But figuring that part out, C, E, G, that's essential, right? Then for the tapping part, what you're going to do is you're going to put your finger, your tapping finger, whichever one that is, on the high note, and then hammer on the other two. And it doesn't matter. You can do go forwards or backwards with that hammer on pull up. Doesn't really matter. Choice is up to you for how you want to practice it. But a little distortion helps, but you know what is even better is practicing no distortion and making sure that all the notes ring out nice and clean, kind of punchy. I'm using my middle pickup of this Stratocaster, so it's, you know, it's not going to be the hardest possible. Like if I was maybe 4th position, that's probably hardest because it's kind of muddy. But like 1st position here would be easy. But I want to make it a little harder on myself. I'm just going 3rd position. Right, so there's your first chord move. And now what Mick has laid out for us is the direction of the notes. So notice E moves down to D, C moves down to B. So we have this moving here, and C moving down to B. So we had this, and then we're going to have this. And the note on top that I'm tapping stays the same. That's right. One way I love practicing these so you can really get the movement is to just move one note at a time. So then E's moving down to D. Then C will move down to B. Right? Then from here, we're going to D minor. In this case, D, our middle note, stays the same. G here is going to move down to F. And B here is going to move down to A. So again, I like to do those just one at a time. So here's my G chord. Right? So now I'm on my D minor. This is a big stretch. So again, if that's not comfortable, I might find easier ways to do that. You don't have to do any stretching there. Just slide it down. I'm going to do that for all my big stretches on this. I just figured out that I can teach that. Right? So that's your D minor, right? Then we're going to get to A minor. So here, A on the bottom that we just slid to stays the same. Then D moves down to C. So that becomes very doable now. And F becomes E. So we were here. Then we're here. Again, very doable. So then you have A minor. That's going to go to E minor. Now this one I find doable. E stays the same. And then our two notes on the bottom change. So A moves down to G. And C moves down to B. So we get from here to there. I think a lot of people find it easier to do to move one note at a time there, but it's worth practicing. You can also do right, like any of that is fair game, right? So we're on our E minor. We're going to get B diminished. This one is a bear. On my intro, I did that by tapping on another string. So I'm tapping my F here. That's kind of like a little bit sloppier, though, than what's really going on. So I might recommend... That's really nice, you know what I mean? But if you're going to do this one too, it's kind of difficult to get to the next shape, which is an F. So what I like to do is add a little transitional point. And then back down to C there. So what's happening there is we get that. And F on the bottom stays the same. So now I'm borrowing from my little slide trick the A from the F chord, because F is going to be F, A, C. So I'm borrowing this A and I'm sliding it up to my C, so I don't have to do a hammer-on pull-off there. And then I'm in tapping position. Then here C stays the same. And F moves to E. A moves to G. So, hopefully, that was a helpful lesson in one-string guitar, or like not that many strings guitar. You can practice this on any string set. I would encourage you to do that, right? C, E, G exists here too. right? So you can do all that stuff on different strings. The more you do this kind of stuff, the more variations you can put on one kind of an exercise like this, the more proficient of a musician you become. So I'm not a tapper. I'm not a metal guy. If you follow this channel, you know me. I'm a funk dude, jazz guy. I don't do this kind of thing. But it's worth working on it. Always worth working on it. It's always worth broadening what you know how to do. And it's always worth going the extra mile. Even if you don't typically do a thing, you never know when learning that skill will make its impact on the other music that you play. So go there. Go that extra mile. Play hard. Shred a little bit for me. And I'll see you in the next video. Happy Theory Thursday. And I want to say one more special thanks to Bob and Joe, Bob Noble and Joe Cerati, for playing an amazing gig with me last week. This Taco Tuesday gig that we have is so much fun. And those guys just really brought it for the whole night. So I have a ton of recordings of those guys and myself that I'll be posting over the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for all that stuff. And I will see you in the next one. Have a great day.